Welcome, folks. Fred Gleek here with Bill DeWeese, and we're here for a podcast that'll be sort of maybe a double duty because we had a little bit of an audio problem last time. So let's go back and review. I don't really know how far back that was now, so you have to help me out, Bill.
Yeah, it was, it had been the week prior to this, prior to this week. So 2 weeks ago, right? The week as I was preparing to leave on vacation.
Okay.
And so I just worked 3 days that week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And it was a very busy week. I actually made just shy of 5,000, 4,890 was the total.
In 3 days.
In 3 days, yeah.
And so give us a little bit of a summary just so we can...
Yeah, and it started off slow on Monday. I did a few financial planning narrations. I had a project for a client in Europe. I had another narration for Ericsson, who's an ongoing client. I also, as I say all this, it doesn't sound like a slow day, but it's about half about my usual load, daily load. I did a healthcare explainer video, and then there's a company called LifeCell that creates like moisturizing lotion to take away wrinkles and such. And they're a new client. They found me online, and so I did a project for them as well. So that was my Monday.
Through a pay-to-play site, is that it?
No, they found me through, actually, they did find me through a pay-to-play. They found me through voice123.com. Okay. Yeah, so that was my Monday. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, I got really busy. And that's where I really made a lot more money. I did some imaging work for a couple of radio stations on Tuesday. They were ongoing clients. I did a script for I do a lot of financial planning type narration for a company, did that. I did a narration for a company about market valuation. I played the role of a hospital marketing manager for a presentation. That was a new client, and they found me online, and I'm not sure exactly, they found my website somehow or other. I also did some work for Dassault Systems. I'm not familiar with them.
Let me interrupt you to just ask you this. Number one, when you find someone not through a pay-to-play site, you're not really necessarily more excited about that because you don't have to pay a commission anyway, do you? So it doesn't really matter to you.
Right. And really, I don't pay a commission. Like Voice123 doesn't charge a commission. Voices.com takes a 10% commission.
So in other words, if you find a client on your own without either through Voices123 or on your own, you pay no commission.
Correct. Yeah.
So you doing anything to try and sort of make it so you get more clients through the sources where you don't pay commission?
That's a good thing. Yes, that's a good thing, and that's what that's what my website's for. And when I do my marketing, my emails, my phone call, or any phone messaging or phone calls I make, I point people back to BillDeWeese.com.
Got it.
And so they found me somehow or other through BillDeWeese.com, maybe through a web search. And then did some on-hold work for a company called Hickory and Tweed. They sell skiing and bicycling equipment in Westchester, New York. Some more technical narration, and then some more work. I did some work a few weeks ago for a Chinese client that manufactures elevators and escalators, and so I did some pickups for them. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 10 projects. It was a busy day.
Got it. And so is that the second of the 3 days?
That's the second. And then on Wednesday, which was my final day of the week, I had a session with Disney to do some updated scripts for their Disney Vacation Club, which I record all that stuff. I did some a recording for an employee recruitment platform. Also did some on-hold recording for a John Deere dealership, a 9-page corporate training. I also did promos for New Mexico PBS, as I typically do every week. There's a company called Emerson Reed, did some narration for them. Also for a company called Amon Group. They're the parent company for Mettler Thread. They create thread, like sewing thread. So I did some recording for them.
That was exciting.
It was terribly exciting, but not as exciting as I did a Camaro and Lexus commercials for 2 different dealerships. So that was crazy because everybody was trying to get their stuff done before I left on my vacation. But it was a big week.
Well, let's just update people then. So we'll have a break here in between that week and this last one here. But so how was the vacation?
It was very nice. I mean, it was nothing exotic. We went back to our old stomping grounds of Columbus, Ohio. And we have some dear friends that we've known since college. I mean, literally two of them were our roommates. We each married each other's roommates. And so we just saw a bunch of old friends we hadn't seen in many, many, many years. So that was a lot of fun. And there's great shopping. Columbus, Ohio is shopping mecca. Because Les Wexner, who owns The Limited, so you got The Limited and Bath and Body Works. Oh my gosh, there's a whole Victoria's Secret's owned by him. There's a whole, so he built this huge shopping complex that has everything imaginable.
Got it. And do they have all the markdown items that
It's not now. It's not a like an outlet type mall, but I mean it wasn't jacked up prices, but it was. But we went to see a movie. There that was on this gigantic IMAX 3D. It was that new San Andreas movie with The Rock.
The Rock, yeah. How was that? It's gotten average reviews, yeah.
Really, I loved it. I liked it, but I like that kind of stuff.
During this last week, I saw Spy, which to me got 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. It was a 95 to me. The kids and my wife thought it was, okay. It was worth seeing, but not great. But I thought it was phenomenal.
We went and saw it yesterday, and we're huge Melissa McCarthy fans.
I loved it.
I just anything she's in just makes me laugh.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Anyway, so back to work here. So talk to me about this last week here.
Well, so this week was, let's see, I only worked Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it was a 3-day week as well because this was my first full week vacation in a decade of doing voiceovers.
Yow.
Yeah. So and my lesson learned was I will never do that again. I mean, literally, I probably never will because it created a lot. I mean, it was just a mess for Mallory to manage back here.
So how are we going to go to London then?
I don't know. It'll have to be shorter than a week. That sounds over a weekend. Weekend in London. How you like that?
Nice.
It was, but it was insane. It's just insane. So, but in 3 days, $3,333, literally 3333.
Wow.
Was the total for this week. And there was just a lot of stuff waiting for me when I came back. And I lost some jobs from being gone as well, which I expected I would. But on Wednesday, I did some medical narration, just a few pickups from a previous project I did, some on-hold script for a community college in Mississippi, a commercial for an auction company in Georgia. I did some narration for a client in Europe, some financial planning narration, IT narration, and I did a regional commercial for a heavy equipment rental.
Now, with all those that you just went through there, how many of those were through pay-to-play versus other?
These were all established clients. None were new, but how many did I get through pay-to-play? I would say probably maybe a little less than half of those, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Thursday. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me ask you: when you have to pay your commissions to Voices 123 or Voices, which one is it?
At Voices.com.
So when you have to pay them commission, do they collect the money and then send you 90%, or do you collect 110?
No, they collect it. So they take care of that.
How quickly do you get paid?
That's a good question. Mallory could answer that faster than me, but I mean better than me. But I know it's not long. Within a week or two.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never a long wait. I do know that. And again, it's 10%. And you can, when you audition, you can give your price. So what I always, let's say for instance, if it's a project that I think is worth $300, I'll say I'll bid or propose 300 for me, which means the client will have to pay 330.
Right. So in other words, whatever you're putting in there is what you expect to receive.
Yes.
And on top of that, the pay-to-play, or in this case, Voices.com, has to add on their commission.
Right. So if the client's not willing to pay, the extra, then, and I figure if they're not willing to pay the extra 10%, then I probably wasn't that strong of a contender to begin with, or they're not that serious.
Okay. Sounds good. What about so that was Wednesday,
That was Wednesday, right. And so then Thursday, more IT narration, did some cybersecurity narration. I read another tutorial for students who don't speak English as a first language to help them with their reading comprehension. And I enjoy that. I've done work for Highlights for Children and for National Geographic for children's educational stuff. And for whatever reason, I enjoy that kind of work. I did a narration it was to solicit investors for something called Car Ad. It's this new advertising platform. Engineering, software training, some more electronics training. I did another Lexus. I did last week or 2 weeks ago. I did Lexus TV commercial. Last week I did the companion radio commercial, and then I did some dubbing over a European voice with he spoke. Actually, I'm not even sure what language he spoke. I think it was Dutch, but I did the English dub, voiceover dub for it's a industrial narration. A guy talking about his factory. And then I did an ad for something called Pelican. I don't even remember what Pelican is. It's a service.
Pelican service, because I own some Pelican cases, which are these containers that basically their ads are, they can literally float in the ocean and nothing gets in them.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It wasn't that, but I can't remember exactly what the service was.
Right. Maybe baby delivery?
maybe that was it. With a name like Pelican, you never know. And then ongoing work for Intel. Seems like I do stuff for Intel just about every week. And so that was my Thursday. So that was busy, pretty busy.
Okay. And so again, from that list that you just went through, give me a breakdown of existing client versus new client.
Those were all existing clients. As a matter of fact, as I look through here, I only did one project this week for one new client. It was an HVAC, heating, air conditioning company, regional commercial.
Yeah, proving once again the need to get and keep good clients.
Yeah, and I think as a goal, I've always had a goal to try to get 1 to 2 new clients a week.
Right.
Even back when I was first starting, because if you can get 1 or 2 new clients a week, you can really build a book of business pretty darn fast. And I still, to this day, as you can tell from our podcasts, I'm always mentioning usually 1 or 2 new clients a week.
And have you found that now, how have your efforts been going in the area of trying to land some of those high-priced gigs through agents?
Yeah, those are still I haven't had one for a long time. Yeah, that's very slow going.
So what do you need to do to make that happen?
Well, good question, because I'm kind of at a place where you have to make business decisions because there's limited time, limited energy.
Yep.
And obviously it's a highly competitive area. And to do that, there's a lot of time and effort and really a lot of training. And I work occasionally with a coach myself, especially when I'm trying to compete for those higher end jobs because it's just so incredibly competitive. But I'm always so busy. There's no lack of work, and I make, a pretty significant amount of income from what I'm doing, and I continue to up my game here. I'm turning 100 over the years. I've turned $100 jobs into 200, into 300, into 500, into 1,000. So I continue to up my game there. So I don't feel a strong need to put a ton of energy in these others, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And again, I'll continue to audition and I'll continue to work on that, but I don't expend a lot of energy. As the days have gone by, as a matter of fact, when January started, I was really excited. I thought, I'm going to really push hard. But as time goes by and my this business continues to grow, I'm not that enthusiastic about continuing to push super hard here because I've got so many new, so much work and continually get new clients over here.
What would change that model for you? I guess if you landed a couple of them?
If NBC called tomorrow and said, we want you to be in-house guy, and we want you to do all our promo work and we're going to pay $1 million a year to do it. That'd be a game changer. But even then you're dependent when it's all dependent on one client.
Yeah. It would be kind of scary.
You can be the it guy this year and next year be gone.
The non-it guy.
The non-it guy.
Yeah.
So even that's pretty iffy. But when you've got as many clients as I have, you don't worry about losing a client or two.
The difference there, and again, the analogy is fairly straightforward, which is if you own only Apple stock and Apple takes a dive versus you have 100 different stocks in your portfolio, and it really doesn't matter if one goes south.
It doesn't. And, and I've lost over the course of the past 10 years, I've lost a number of clients for a number of different reasons. And it adds up to a lot of money, but I've never gone backwards. I've always continued to go forward because I continue to add new clients. I continue to up, the average price per job that I get.
So for the person listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, what's your recommendation to them as to how they should approach this? I mean, a lot of times there's this big allure when you first get into the VO business of these big jobs through the agents, and doing the movie promo work or the whatever. So what should they be thinking?
Well, my suggestion is, certainly go for those things. Who knows? You may be the next it person and enjoy it while it lasts. But I think from a business standpoint, I always say build your business like a mutual fund, like a portfolio. I always use the stock analogy. And if you're relying too heavily on one or two stocks, then you're in a very precarious position. But if you've got 50 or 60, this is sustainable, Fred. That's what I like about this business model, is that it might not be as sexy as maybe some other work that other people do. There's not a lot of extremely, occasionally I'll get a really, glamorous, Disney, that's a cool client. Chevy, that's a cool client. But I've got way more of the bread and butter type clients. I'm doing industrial narration, medical narration. I'm doing regional commercials, local commercials. Nothing you bring up at a cocktail party necessarily, but it makes me a lot of money.
Yeah, you are the essence of the blue collar voiceover guy.
I guess I am. It's there's no flash here. It's just it's more. Well,
it's the difference between Neiman Marcus and Walmart. You're Walmart.
I am a high volume, high volume at a lower price point than the guys who only do promo work or only do movie trailer work. But I'm in a very stable financial position. I don't worry about.
For people listening or watching, I think that frankly, they're being sold a bill of goods to try and go the other route to start. I think that going the way that you are building your business and have built your business is the only way for a beginner to go in the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, because you're going to make money, you're going to build a base of income, and that's what I always tell people. Start this way. Take a very broad-based approach, build a book of business, get some consistent income, and then pursue whatever niche you want to pursue. Then go for the real highly volatile, stock, because hey, it may work out really well for you. For most people, it doesn't work out, but you could be, and I know people have done very well in those areas, but I think you need to build a really solid base first before you start reaching out into those things.
Okay, so let's go back then. Now we're still on, we need to talk about Friday.
Brings us to Friday, right. And I did have my new client of the week came up on Friday. It was a commercial for a heating and cooling company that I got through voices.com. And so that's always exciting when you get a new client. Did a regional commercial for an exercise, or a company who created exercise equipment for people who are wheelchair or bed bound. I did some promos for International Immaculate Heart Radio, which is the Catholic radio network. I'm their voice. Promos for New Mexico PBS, CAD software training. I did some training for a public school system, their acceptable use policy for computers and internet, and then 26 pages of IT narration. And so, this is my bread and butter. This is the stuff I do every day.
Yeah, and speaking of which, you should probably drop in the promo for the narration seminar, which is coming up in a few months.
Yes, September. It's like mid-September. I don't have the date right off the top of my head, but it's a Saturday, Sunday.
And do we have the URL for that?
No.
No, we don't.
We don't, but we will soon.
We will soon, exactly. So just teasing people that it's coming.
We're working on it. That's right. Yeah, but it's going to be, narration makes up to, close to 90% of all voiceover work out there. This is where the work's at. There's a lot of money. And I love audiobooks, and but I'll tell you, when you can get narration work, it pays you a lot more than audiobooks. A lot more. That's why I'm very excited about it.
Good. So anything else to wrap up this last 2 weeks that we've concluded?
Yeah, and I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. If you do plan to take time off as a voice talent, just communicate. Clients don't read emails, they delete emails, they don't hear what, you've got to never expect to email once and be heard. email them. I did it a couple of times and I found out it still wasn't enough. So
what would you do differently now?
I would probably send an email a week for the 4 weeks prior leading up to, and then still realize it still would be a mess. When
And then did you set up something automatic on your email that said, I'm out of town until this date?
No, I let Mallory respond individually to each one because she's really good at being air traffic control, and she knows what I'm capable of handling when I get back. So that way they know that they're in the queue. They know that somebody is watching and knows what's going on, and that they're being dealt with even before I get back.
Perfect. Well, that's good. So we're back on our normal schedule. You have a full week of work next week, and of course we'll have a full podcast at the end of next week describing exactly what Mr. Bill DeWeese did with his voiceover business. This is Fred Gleek along with Bill DeWeese saying thank you very much for listening or watching on the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Fred.